whole library of tutorials and resources. You'll have to log in, but just for example purposes, you open up the menu in the upper right-hand corner and you'll select Moxi Works. And from here, you'll see that we're going to have a tile for each one of the Moxi Works tools. So there's the toolkit for agents, which I love because it gives ideas on how to use the different products that we've discussed throughout the sales cycle. Then we've got Engage for Agents, which we covered on week 1. You've got Present, which we discussed last time we were together. Today we're going to be looking at websites. And we didn't cover Impress. Well, I guess we covered it slightly. Actually, we did, because we did Engage in 2 sessions, and so we did get some Impress in there as well. But the reason I wanted to draw your attention to this page is if you have additional questions, if you need additional help, all the recordings that have been vetted by our legal team of the classes, actually, we have live classes where you can go on with a remote instructor and ask questions, but if none of those times work for you, if you go into any of these, it'll show you the actual approved recording. We have tutorials with click here, click there. There's also self-paced learning in there. And I'm excited to share that come January, they are rolling out a new series of classes. They're called Action Labs, where it's more like come on with your computer, even though obviously you'll be on your computer because it's a remote class. But the goal of those action labs is to actually work alongside the instructor and leave with different things done. They'll set some goals for the class. I think there's 2 new action labs that are going to be rolled out. So keep an eye out for those. Time permitting, I'm happy to get into the calendar and show you those dates if you're interested. Otherwise, I can send them over to you, Debbie, to share with the group. Debbie, anything you'd like to add before we jump in?
Sorry, my voice is still trying to come back, but at least I'm back in the office now. Your classes have been great. I really love these.
Yeah.
It's getting into a deep dive much more than what we learned with just watching the little walkthroughs. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about maybe some more of the products that we have and stuff, but this is good. I can't wait to get into this one. There's so much, you guys, that you can do with this website. It's crazy.
There sure is. Thank you, Debbie. I got to tell you, I actually covered this in our top agent retreat. I did a session and started showing some examples, which I'll share with you in just a moment, of what some agents have done with the Moxi website tool. And I actually had somebody leave upset during our top agent session. And I approached them. I'm like, are you okay? What's going on? They're like, I just spent $12,000 hiring someone to do exactly what you just showed us to do. And we have it available to us through the brand. So yeah, you can spend a pretty penny on a web designer doing a lot of the things that you do have the ability to do right through one of the tools that this amazing brand is providing you with. So let's go ahead and jump in. The suspense must be killing you all already. So let's go ahead and take a look. You know that we have to start with our disclaimers. And so we'll get through those pretty quickly, but hopefully by now you guys feel very well versed on the TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Myth number 1, the TCPA applies to calls and not texts. Unfortunately, that is not the case. We do need to check the do not call list before calling and or texting. Myth number 2, I checked the do not call list. When I got the number, I'm covered. Again, people are adding themselves to these lists on a daily, hourly basis. We never know when they're adding themselves. So we do want to recheck if it's been a while before we call or text them. And finally, myth number 3, a friend gave me this person's number, so I do not need to check the DNC list. Again, it's a person you're going to be calling or texting, did not personally share their information with you. As kind as it was of your friend to think of you, we still need to check the DNC list as per the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. So one last quick reminder, I'm here as a resource and a guide. Anything I share with you is completely optional for your use as an independent sales associate. Nothing that I share with you today is a requirement of your affiliation with the Century 21 brand. With that, let's take a look at Moxi websites. So we kind of were teasing it a little bit, but what I love about this is that it's actually, maybe some of you have worked with this program before, not knowingly, but it's actually powered by WordPress. So it's a really well-known product in the web design space. Actually, if you wanted to outsource it and pay somebody to help you do your website, you can. Anybody that claims to be some type of web designer would be familiar with WordPress. So that's nice. You don't have to figure it out yourself if you don't want to. But today I'm going to give you all the tools that you need to get started on customizing it, because it is relatively very easy and simple to set up. It's integrated with your MLS. So anybody visiting your website will be able to search for properties and save those searches. And that does get updated every 15 minutes. It does have the ability to capture leads. It's got that neighborhood news subscription integrated with it as well. So anybody that goes in and requests that neighborhood news report gets captured with your Moxi Engage. So your website and Moxi Engage work together to capture visitors from your website that do share their information. And it's got a completely responsive design. We know that people are looking at the internet and browsing the internet from multiple devices, primarily from mobile devices. And so we want to make sure that your website looks good no matter what device they are viewing your site on. And so Moxi allows for you not only to have a responsive website, but you can even edit your website depending on the device that it's being viewed on. It's pretty awesome that I can have a completely different website on a mobile device as on a computer if I wanted to go through the process of editing each type of device. So it's pretty awesome. You'll also be able to create custom property searches and lists. And what that just means is if you've gone to real estate websites where they have maybe tiles where they have categorized property lists like waterfront properties or luxury homes, things like that, where they're categorized. Those are property lists and or custom searches, and you'll be able to add those to your website as well. So that QR code that you're seeing there is going to take you over to our Century 21 University resource page for Moxi websites. But I just want to remind you, you can keep this as simple as you want to keep it. Like you see on our screen, this is one of those pre-built templated versions of the website. And if you just have no desire to spend hours going down the rabbit hole like I do, because I have way too much fun with this, you can keep it very simple. Otherwise, you can the sky really is the limit. I found myself looking, especially now that I've been doing a lot of online shopping for the holidays, I found myself looking at different websites of these retailers in a whole new way. I look at them as with a web design mindset, and I think to myself, can I add this kind of feature to my site? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. So it's pretty awesome. It does have a plugin to help you with search engine optimization. So basically, it'll analyze your pages on your website, even the ones that you add and create, and it will give you pointers on what you can do to increase your visibility on these search engines, which is really nice as well. So before we jump into the actual product, I wanted to take a moment and share some examples of what people have done with these websites, because what I love is that, I clicked on the wrong button. What I love is that there's 8 of us on this call today. All 8 of us, 8 of us can have work off of this same platform and have a completely different looking website and be equally as functional, but just different, right? We all have a different approach to our business and style and look and feel that we want to portray. So this is one of our agents actually out in Michigan, and this is freshcoastliving.com, which, by the way, I've talked to Scott. He's totally fine with being used as inspiration. So if you want to jot down this website, feel free to do so. His is very clean, very visual, lots of images and graphics. These are those pages that I was telling you that you can set up, those neighborhoods. He also has some featured properties and some information about himself. Now, one of the things I really like that he did are, he added some tabs in his menu. These were not by default, the Lakeshore Premier Properties and the neighborhoods. So what he did is, I'll show you neighborhoods first, is he did a page where he highlighted different neighborhoods that he specializes in. And I'm not even going to pretend to know how to say some of these. And if I wanted to read more on these areas, he has a learn more button where he's created a page dedicated to this area that he sells in, where you can learn about it, discover the community, the history, the vibe, as well as activities and attractions, and see other listings that are available in that area. So he created that page. It's probably a template that he started off with that he then kind of altered slightly. So we do have templates that you can work off of and then add things, remove things to make your own versus starting from scratch. And that's what it looks like he did. The other cool thing he did was he actually added a section on his website for his premier listings. And this is something cool because he can share this at his next listing appointment and share with the seller, hey, I'm going to be featuring you on my website in our premier listings section, and kind of show what that looks like. And I mean, he's embedded video, images. He even put a link up at the top where people can request a showing for this particular property. So again, probably a content templated page that he reworked and made it a featured property page. So that's one website I wanted to share with you. Another one is my good friend Bethany in Montana, montanabethany.com. Completely different approach with her website. And hers is more on a personal level, where she shares a lot of information about herself. She wants the reader to get to know her personally, and she wants to connect with them on a personal level, where she shares, you know, photos of her family and her involvement in the community, her awards. But then she too also has, in a different format, these specialized searches that I can go into and see ski homes or land or condos. She also has neighborhoods set up as well. And then she also included some testimonials there on her homepage. Similar to Scott, but slightly, again, different format. Under her resources, she set up neighborhoods. And so if you click on any of these neighborhoods or areas, it's going to also give you some information about that neighborhood or area, some you know, highlights, some properties that are available, and then she even included some statistics. It looks like that's an additional plugin that she put in there, and a contact form. This is what we were talking about when we were talking about lead capture. Is I would sprinkle this throughout your website because it's that call to action. She even put in websites that are resources for that neighborhood, the chamber, the school district website, events like their festival and car show and things like that. She even put in the plugin for greatschools.org. So I thought very well done. Two beautiful looking websites, completely different look and feel, but use the same product to design it. So I hope you're just as excited as I am. I know Debbie is. So with that, this is the roster page. And just a reminder, I bookmarked this page so I can access any of my tools. If you have never, ever, ever clicked on the My Website tab before, you're initially going to see a screen that looks like this. Boom. I had to get screenshots since I've already gone through this. And this is a one and done type deal. If you've never clicked on the website, we'll need to create the website by clicking on that blue create a website link. When you do that, you're going to first select, this is a drop-down menu. Make sure you're selecting agent website. You may or may not have the ability to toggle to anything else, which is good, but just in case you can, make sure that you have selected agent website. I think it might let you toggle between agent or team. Now, after reading the paragraph of instructions, note what is accompanying this step. You cannot, technically you can. So step 2 is basically you're choosing the domain name. And every brokerage has a slightly different domain. So please disregard this. It has nothing to do with what yours might look like. Mine, for example, on my demo account was kathy.gallego.c21.sites.homes. It was pretty lengthy. And that's okay. So I just put the Cassie.gallego or Cassie Gallego in the box. I checked if it was available. Great. It was. So I submitted it. I wasn't too concerned about it because then after I can get into my administrative side, I was able to then bring in my domain name that I purchased through domains.com, CassieGallego.com, GoDaddy, domains.com, wherever it is that you purchase your domain, you can bring that over. You just won't be able to do that until you get started and you activate the website. So pick something. And then I do recommend for 15, 20 bucks a year, depending on the vendor, get a domain name that is short, that is clear. Maybe it's your name, maybe it's something that you use to brand yourself. But that way it's just easier for your consumer and that stays with you no matter where you go. If you decide you want to design a website using something else after today, I don't think you will, but if you do, your domain name goes with you. And you can, and your clients, your sphere will never know the difference. The website remains the same. So they're not having to learn a new domain name. So that's that. Once you have selected that initial domain or URL, you're going to click where it says access your website admin. And then that brings us to where we want to be, which is this guy right here. Boom. So you'll never see that again. Once you get here, that's a one and done. Kind of just activate Moxi, tell it that you wanted to create a website. Now, these are the steps, the most common tasks that we're going to be discussing. Most of them kind of tie into one another. And actually, you're going to see me use these bullet points quite a bit. But I also like to use the left-hand navigation bar because then I don't have to go home between each thing. So all of these fall under one of these buckets. So if you see me using these, I'll let you know which one that kind of pertains to. It'll make sense in just a minute. So our first step, the first thing we want to do is personalize our site's style, which is the first bullet point. So we're going to go ahead and go there. And you have a few options. So the first two are kind of pre-created options for you. So if you want to keep it simple and you want to use just a templated, just fill in the blank type of website, by all means, go for it. Or maybe you do want to do something more custom, but you want to have a website up and running while you're working on that more custom option. Well, you're going to choose whether you want a search focused or an agent focused site if you're going to be using one of these pre-built options. The search focused is going to make the search the star of the show, front and center. I like it. It's visually more appealing to me, but again, who cares what I think, right? But it also, it will still have you and information that you plug in as your welcome message. I think it's a nice layout. We'll see in a little bit more depth in just a second. The other option is the agent focused. Very similar, however, it's just reverse. The agent is the star of the show, and then the search shows up slightly beneath the agent profile there. The third option would be to create a custom homepage. And we'll get into that in just a second. We're going to start simple, and then we'll go into the more advanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this search focus kind of pre-built template to get us started. And you're going to see me publish quite a bit between steps because I have a little PTSD on spending a lot of time on something and then forgetting to hit that button. So publish just makes our change take effect. And so and just a good best practice would be on a separate tab, just keep your website open. So as you're making changes and publishing those changes, you can see how those changes are looking on your website live. All right, so this is the templated version. That was the pre-built version, not too bad looking. And so I selected search focused and publish. Now we're going to go back home. And we can look at the next bullet point, which is our homepage, the content that's on that homepage. Let's personalize that. So if we go there, this is where I can choose the background image. I can choose the custom text that shows up right here on my kind of, they call it the hero image because it's where the eye really goes. So as you notice, all of the content of my website, this is the welcome message, featured properties, video, mortgage rates. You're going to see that play out right here. Here's the image, my custom text, my profile where you saw my picture and my contact information, my welcome text. Hello, welcome to my website. That's going to apply right here. So this is where you would go to put in the content for your website. We've got featured properties as well as a custom search module. So let's talk about these for a second. These are slightly different, kind of similar, but slightly different. And I can say my past sales, for example. And you'll see there's a drop-down menu below that where you can select what list you want to feature. If you don't have, active or sold listings, you can use your office's listings. I would probably not title it my past sales if that were the case. Office inventory or Century 21 Homestar inventory or something like that. So you can choose from whatever's in this drop-down menu. And if you want to create something, you absolutely can. Right to the right, there's the ability to create a property list, which will give you a few more options, or you can create a list by plugging in MLS numbers. So if you wanted to feature a neighborhood, the only thing with that is if they are not your listings, especially if they're not in your brokerage, you do need to have written permission from whoever's listing that is, or make sure that you are following whatever rules are set in place by your MLS in terms of marketing another brokerage or agent's listings. Okay. Now, I like personally this custom search module a little bit better because this one does give me the flexibility of just putting pre-created searches on my website. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and create a custom search for, where are we going to go today? Anna Maria Island. Anna Maria. Now, in this box, it's saying the easiest way to construct your custom search path is to execute a search on your site. And when you set the criteria as desired, copy the URL beginning with the word search / from your browser. So I'll walk you through. It sounds way more complicated than it really is. So I always keep, like I said, my website open in another tab just so that I can access it quickly. And I'm just going to search here, Anna Maria. I guess I'll just put Anna Maria. I guess it's all in that. There we go. So now it's just going to pull up what I have searched, and I can narrow down that criteria. So I can say, you know what? I just want single family homes in Anna Maria Island. I don't know how many of those there are. We'll see. Nice. All right. So with that, I am going to go ahead and see my my URL here. I'm going to copy all of this starting with search / I'm just going to exclude that first little bit of the URL here. Just going to copy. I don't need to know what this stuff says or means. I just need to know how to copy and paste. So I'm literally starting from here, going to the end and copying all of that so that I can come over here and paste it. When you hit save, now that search criteria is saved and I can use it forevermore. It just will update the listings that fall within that criteria on my site. So if we come back to our homepage, which is actually where we were working on that criteria, we can now select in our custom search module, here we go. And there's Anna Maria Island, the search that we created together. We can choose how many properties it will rotate through. It's not going to show 100 at a time, guys. It'll just show, I want to say 3 at a time that they can continue to rotate through or view the entire search. But the most it will show is 100. Okay. Again, between changes, I'm going to come and publish my work so that I can see how that appears on my site. So let's take a look. There we go. Anna Maria Island. Here are my featured. I can see more, or I can scroll through and it will show up to 100 based on how many fall within that criteria. Okay. So back to our homepage. Beneath the featured properties module or the custom module, you also have a blog. And I know some people are like, I don't have time to blog. I beg to differ, and here's why. Many of us, if not all of us, over the last 30 days or so, have probably shared a link on our Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever social media channels you're using to share an article that maybe we read or saw that was interesting. Many of us do this, right? We find, oh, that's cool, let me share it on my Facebook. Well, what we just did is we drove traffic to that publication. They don't need our help driving traffic to their site. And so what I would recommend instead is come over and add a blog post where you write just maybe a short blurb about your thoughts on that article. It forces you to read it, because I can't tell you how many times I see people post things that I'm like, I wonder if they actually read what they were posting, because it's not talking really nicely about realtors. Please read what you're sharing, but also you can still link the full article and have them, hey, to read the full article, click here. So you're sourcing where it came from. But when you're sharing to your social media, you're sharing from your website versus that publication. And so now you're driving the traffic to you versus that person that doesn't need your help driving traffic to their website. And so that's not hard to do. But basically on this homepage section, all you're doing really is giving that blog a name. So you can name it whatever you want. You don't have to write a blog right now in this moment. Just give it a name. And then moving forward, anytime you want to add a new blog post, you just come to your website admin. You can come over to new post, or you can come over to blog posts, either one, and you can type up, add images, video. I had a friend of mine when I lived over in Miami. She had a blog that had a ton of visitors, and her blog was just mojito reviews. So if you want to go find a good mojito in Miami, you knew, and she was a realtor, and she just had a tab on her website called Mojito Reviews, and that was her blog. And anytime she went out anywhere, she would order a mojito. She would, with her phone, take a picture of the bartender making the mojito, and she would give it a scale of 1 to 5 lines. That's how her rating scale. But then she was able to share that kind of stuff. It's fun. People like it. I had another friend who did like a picture a day, Miami through like her cell phone lens, really. And so it's not something you have to spend a ton of time on. She would take pictures of the view of a parking garage she parked in, and it was overlooking, the city. And she's like, wow, this is a good view. And she would just post that picture, so it doesn't have to be anything overly complex. But the cool thing about having a blog on your site, if you're going to update it regularly, is it's also going to extremely benefit your SEO, because it's a way of adding new content to your website. And that's what Google, Bing, Yahoo want to see, is new and updated content. That's how they choose who they rank. So it's a nice, easy way to update the content on your site. So I'm going to get off my blog soapbox now, but just throwing that out there, some benefits there. There's the links module, and you might have seen when we were looking at Bethany's example of one of her neighborhoods, she had this links module working for her where she put useful links for the Big Fork neighborhood or whichever neighborhood we were looking at. And it was the Chamber of Commerce and the property appraiser's website, or the town website where you can find, open permits and things like that. So if you want to manage links, you can provide useful links. People use it for preferred vendors and things like that. So you can pretty much add whatever you want there. Last but certainly not least is the featured video section. And I actually plugged in the video of our new campaign. This is our Sentry, and I'm going to remove it and show you how I did that. So on another tab, I'm just going to go to the Sentry 21 YouTube channel. Here are, which, by the way, if it's on our YouTube channel, it's all yours. Have at it. You're welcome to. The other thing you can do is go into Brand Studio. We have a lot of these videos on Brand Studio for you that you can upload to your own YouTube channel if you want, and then share those on your site if you want to take that extra step. So here is our new campaign. This is our Sentry. I'm just going to open up that video so you can view it on any other day, and I'm just going to click here where it says share. When we click on share, what we want to do is, instead of copying this link, we want to embed it on our website so it lives in the website. I'm not sending somebody over to YouTube to watch it. So we got to switch over to embed, and we're going to copy this code. And so what we're going to do is come back here, and I can either add media from over here, or I can insert, it does the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and click on the same word, embed, and this is where we're going to paste that code. When you hit OK, there's your video. Now, don't worry, it will not appear as big as it's looking here based on what I have filled my website with above. It will resize to fit in the section that's dedicated to that. I also have the ability to hide the mortgage rate option or keep it showing, and that will also determine how big that featured video would be, right? Right now, it's kind of small because I have those mortgage rates featured. Well, I'm going to hide that widget now. I'm going to go ahead and hit publish, and we'll see how that might change my video size. See? So it just depends on what you decide you want to include on your site and what you don't, which is how it's going to organize it, because we're using that pre-built option. Okay. So that is, if you wanted to just up and run and activate your website today and just use the simple version, again, we started with choosing the layout and personalizing the homepage. And in just a few minutes, we have our website up and running. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to come back to personalize our site style. And instead of using one of these two options, we're going to talk about creating a custom page or custom homepage. And by the way, whatever I show you with the remaining time, you can create, we're going to be looking at our homepage, but you can create as many pages to add to your site as you would like we saw with the neighborhoods and the resources and things like that. Now, if I'm choosing the custom option to designate as my homepage, I have a drop-down menu below, which is going to show me any pages that I have created. I can choose which one I want to designate as my homepage. Now, if you have never created a page before, what you're going to do is you're going to create a page. Then you need to come back. And once that page is created, you can't designate a page that doesn't exist yet, right? So we'll need to create the page, then come back and tell Moxi, all right, this is the page I want to set as my home page. All right, so let's create a new page together. I have a 3-year-old who's obsessed with Legos, so my analogies seem like they're for 3-year-olds. That's probably why. But what I love about the custom page is it kind of gives us a blank canvas, and it gives you the little Lego pieces to kind of build out your website. So let's name this C21 Home Star homepage. Typically, I'd probably just name it home, but I didn't want to confuse it with one of the 19 other home pages I've created every time I teach this class. And now instead of using this search bar or this text editor, I'm going to switch over to the builder. The builder is where the fun lives. And so if I go to the builder, you're going to see that blank canvas, the Lego pieces that I was just referencing. Here we go. And basically, I can drag and drop these pieces to build out the page to look like whatever I want it to look like. And you'll notice right now I'm on modules. There's actually a drop down. There's also advanced modules. And then we also have widgets. And basically, again, I just drag and drop the pieces wherever it is I want to put them. Now, I'm not going to recommend that you start with these modules unless that's what you want to do and you have a design eye. I rather start with something and then I can remove things and add things as I need to, but at least I have a format that I'm starting with versus trying to design something from scratch on my own. But it's just a matter of what your vision is for your site. And so what we can do is instead of starting with modules, if we come over to templates, we have all these options to choose from. And don't pick something based on the images or the graphics, and think more in terms of layout because we can add or remove whatever we want here. Now, under templates, we also have a drop-down menu. Check these out. We also have landing pages that are, again, the layouts are great. And then we also have content pages, which if you look close enough, you might recognize some of these from when we were looking at Scott or Bethany's websites when they created those content pages for those neighborhoods. They probably used one of these and swapped out the images and changed out. See, like this one, how he had the vibe and the community and the so you can do the same. Since we're creating a homepage right now, I'm going to work with a Moxi template. And I'm going to use, today we're going to use this homepage. Switch it up every time. I'm using that one. Again, don't worry about the colors or the photos. I live in Florida. There's not a single mountain in my state. So definitely not an accurate portrayal of where I live, but I like the layout. So here's what we're going to do. If I want to change this image, see how there's a blue box around my image? That means I can make changes to it. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that little settings wrench here, and it's going to open up a dialog box for me. There's multiple tabs too in the dialog box, meaning there's different sections of ways to edit this piece. And so typically we're going to focus on the first couple ones. In the background image, really style's the only one you need, but it's a trial and error thing. As you make changes, you'll see those changes apply to your screen so you can see if you like it or not. So I'm going to leave the width as full width. I am also going to leave the height as it is, but as I mentioned before, if I wanted to play with that, I can click on those and change them up. I can change the text color. The background. Right now it's showing background is a parallax, which means it's a full view image that's going to scroll up and down with me. I'm going to actually change the background type, and instead of a parallax, I'm going to choose video. We're going those websites where you see that movement in the background. That's what we're going to do. So I've selected video, and now I have to select a video to put as my background. And so the source is actually going to be, you can choose a URL, a YouTube video or Vimeo, or anything that you upload. I can upload to that media library and grab it at any time. I actually went on Canva and looked up aerial footage of Sarasota, Florida, where I live, and they had some, and it cost me nothing. So I put together a quick little 10-second loop of aerial footage that's going to be playing in the background. And I uploaded it to my media library. So if I come over to select video, it's going to show me anything that I've uploaded. So we're going to go ahead and select that. And now I've got my movement in the background. Ooh, Debbie, I love the exciting face. Pretty cool, huh? Now, again, if you're pulling something from YouTube or Vimeo, just make sure you have permission to do so. Otherwise, there's lots of places online where you can get royalty-free images or footage. So definitely do some digging that way. Now, what we can do is choose if I want to enable video on a mobile device. Remember, we said this is responsive. So if Debbie's looking at my website from her phone, do I want that video to load up or not? Doesn't matter. It's just a matter of really where they are and what kind of cell phone reception they have. I would maybe mark yes and then have a fallback photo. So if for whatever reason their internet connection's not great, instead of it loading up a video, we can have it load up an image instead. So that's kind of your backup. Now, you may not see it because you didn't see what it looked like before, but I actually have an overlay on my video, and it's black that I have made somewhat transparent. And the reason I did that was I wanted the white font to be able to pop, for it to be legible. Here's what I mean by that. See here where it says background overlay? Right now I have it set as a color. If I select none, you'll see that my video kind of brightened up. And it's nice on some screens, but depending on the video that's playing in the background, then my verbiage can kind of get a little bit tough to read, like right now. So I kind of like the overlay option. And so to do that, I'm just going to pick a color here, and I'm going to make it somewhat transparent. I'm going to darken it just slightly so that we can see my verbiage a little bit more. You'll see it'll kind of darken back up again. At least it should. I wasn't paying attention, so I don't know if it did. Let's see. It turned black right now because I made it black. There we go. Oh, okay. What's going on here? Oh, because I had it set to none, that's why. Color, then you can select the color, but if you have it set to none, nothing's going to happen. All right, so color. There we go. That's what I was. And then you can choose the transparency. And that's what I like, is that as I'm making these changes, I can see what's happening so that I can determine, do I like that or not? So a lot of trial and error here. You can do all sorts of different things. And I picked video as my background type, but look at all these options. They even have stock photos for you all. You can do a slideshow of images if you wanted to like feature the area that you live in a slideshow versus a video, which is what you saw with Bethany. She had the mountains and the lake, and she actually had a slideshow. And because I don't have a slideshow, I don't have that option. But in the effects, there's a transitions option. So you can choose how those pictures in the slideshow transition. Do you want it to fade in and fade out, or do you want it to kind of like PowerPoint, right? So a lot of this is just playing with it and seeing if you like the changes that you're making. So far, all we've done is change my background image. Well, you know what? I don't actively sell real estate. I'm a product specialist. So I don't want to feature the search right in the middle of my page. So I'm going to get rid of it. And I can do that. And so what I want to do is I want to add my logo right over that picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my modules. Remember our Lego pieces. I'll select photo. Let's see here. By the way, you don't just select it, you have to drag it and drop it so that it knows where you want it. And I'm going to say, let's put in my logo that I've created for myself. Whoa, that's really big. And so I can play with the style and play with how big I want that logo to appear on my site. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And I am gonna add, you know what? I'm gonna add a button that says learn more or meet Moxie Works or something like that. Because that's what I want to feature on my site. You can feature your neighborhoods, you can feature, whatever it is that you want. But again, all these modules are for you to do what you will with. So I'm gonna create or add a button. Oh my goodness, people. I want you to stop. Oh no, I don't have time to go to my settings right now. I thought I can mute it. Sorry about that. I'm going to go to my button here and I'm going to grab it and drop a button right below my logo. And again, general and style. General means it's the content that you're editing, and then style is the appearance. So I'll name this Meet, not Met, Meet Moxi Works. And I'll select an icon, which is kind of cool. They have a whole library of icons that you can choose from. So I'm thinking for Moxi Works, I might put in we're saying Meet Moxi Works, or maybe we can hands or something. Ooh, I'm not going to choose that one. By the way, if you scroll down, you'll see they even have all the social media icons. So if you wanted to plug those in, you can. So lots of options here in the icons. I don't know why I'm taking this so seriously. So I want to find one that actually relates to it because it might stay on my website for a while. I'll just put a star for now. All right. Meet Moxi Works, and I can choose where I want that positioned. And I can also provide a link for this to go to. So I might create a page later on that says Meet Moxi Works, and it gives an overview of the tools. Maybe it's, learn more, whatever it is that you want to do. I'm not going to put a link right now for time's sake. But now I can even change the style. I want it to be in the middle. I can have the width be bigger or smaller. Whoa, definitely not full width. See what I mean? So we can play with that. I can also change the color. So I'm going to leave the text in black. I'll make the hover over color in gold. And the border color and the actual background color, nothing. Oh, well, that's not legible. Text color, white. You can play with it. Probably not the best choices that I made there on the fly, but you guys get the idea. Now that's not linking to anything right now, but had I put a link in there, I could have, put a link and driven it over to the Moxi Works resource page on Century 21 University or anything like that. So you guys can do as you will. Maybe I want to include some frequently asked questions. Maybe you get asked all the time questions about, the how's the market? We get that one all the time, but just what's the process like to buy or the process like to sell right now? You come over to the plus sign. The last thing I want to share with you in here is remember you've got your modules and you've got advanced modules and widgets. We talked about the templates. But if you come over to rows, I call this the container store. And then, so you have these containers that you can drop modules into to keep things lined up. But I actually love underneath the columns, you've got pre-built rows. And they have all these pre-built options here for you. So for example, if I wanted to put in a call to action or a frequently asked questions, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and drag that and put it wherever I want to put it. I'm going to put it right there. All right. Now, it's not a mind reader. It has no idea what questions I want to feature. So to edit that information, like we've been doing, you click on that little widget, that little setting, wrench. You can tell I don't use tools very often. And if you go into the items, you'll see here all your questions that I can edit and change. So the label is what is, and I can write my own little answer there. And you get the idea. I probably should answer those questions, but that's how that would work. I don't have a ton of time. And again, you can edit these images. So if you don't like the photo that it came with, it's a simple, you know what, let me remove this image and grab another one from my photo library, which these are images that I have uploaded. A lot of these come right from Brand Studio. Otherwise, you can upload your own. Just make sure that you have, like I said, permission to use that image. All right, so we'll go ahead and save that, but not too bad for something we spent just a few minutes on. There is something hiding under there. We'll have to take a look. Oh, here it is. Goodbye. There we go. So if I want to view and preview my website to see what it would look like, up at the upper left-hand corner where our little beaver friend is, we can actually preview the layout and it will show us what the website's going to look like on a computer, on a tablet, and on a mobile device. So if somebody's looking at it from their phone. So as you can see, you might say, you know what, I don't really love all this space here. I'm going to change what it looks like on a mobile device. So if I wanted to do that, I can come over and instead of previewing it, I'm going to do responsive editing. And responsive editing will allow me to switch over to the mobile view and say, all right, maybe we change the length of this video on a mobile device. And it will not touch the original view. If somebody's on their computer or their tablet, you're only editing the mobile view at this point. So I can say, you know what, instead of full height, we're going to go minimum height. That looks way better. So you can actually edit based on, you know, what somebody is seeing on the device that they're seeing it on. That looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and exit. Once I'm happy with it, we're going to go ahead and click on done. And we are either going to save our draft for later or we're going to publish. I'm going to publish. And from here, we can go back to our home, to the admin homepage, because this is where I get to tell Moxi that's what I want as my homepage moving forward. So we're going to come back here one last time, personalize your site style. And instead of using one of these guys, we can come to custom now and find our C21 Homestar homepage that we built together and publish. So now Moxi knows that's my homepage. Now I know we're running the clock. I mean, I could teach on the website all day. I can't believe an hour has gone by already. But I did want to mention that as you're looking at your website, and actually, if I click on home, you'll see my whole layout's going to change because I just told Moxi that I want my new layout. There it goes. It's thinking. My computer is crazy slow these days. I'm going to have to play with it and see what's going on. I think my browser's not liking something. But what I want to draw your attention to is these menu options. I have my poor website is Frankenstein. I have a homepage from another class. I have the homepage that we created. I featured some neighborhoods, but I want to add Anna Maria. Like, you can edit and add content here all day long. And so if I come back to admin home, you control all of that under your site pages. You come over to site pages. This is where you're going to see all the pages that exist on your website. So for example, this is my old homepage. I can either hide it, or in this case, I'm going to delete it. I don't need it anymore because we just created a new one together. And I can move my C21 Homestar homepage up to the top where I want it. And if I wanted to add Anna Maria Island under my featured neighborhoods, well, I don't have that page. I have to build it. So if I want to add a new page, you'll see I have all these options, which real quick before I do, let me publish, because otherwise nothing that I did will save. But if I come and add a new page, you'll notice I can add custom pages. I can add menu links, a profile page. Custom page really is my favorite because it gives you a lot of flexibility. And I would just, for something like this is an easy content page. I'm going to name it. And we'll go back to our builder, just like we did with our homepage. And what I would do is under templates, let's go to one of these content pages. And I'm going to say, you know what? I like, I don't know, this one for Anna Maria Island. Don't worry about the colors and the images, because like we did earlier, you can edit all that. So you can also, in the style, change the fonts, the size, all of that. So let's say I am happy with all the content I just added. You know, all that hard work I just did. Again, maybe I just want to change out the picture. Type photo. Effects. Looks like it's got like a gradient color somewhere. So I don't want that. Overlay, none. Much better. Okay, so now I'm going to just publish this. And put it where I want in my site pages. So if I come over to site pages, we'll see that now I do have an Anna Maria Island page. It's hidden, so I'm going to show it. And I can drag that and put it over here, and I'm going to alphabetize it under my featured neighborhood. See how that's indented? That means I'm indicating to Moxi that I want these to be dropped down under the featured neighborhoods. So if I publish that and come to my website, now it's playing nice. We'll see featured neighborhoods, and there's Anna Maria Island. So again, the sky really is the limit. You'll notice my homepage 3.0 went away. My C21 Homestar homepage is where it needs to be. I can add things under any of these drop-down menus as well, all under site pages. I know I owe you 3 minutes of your lives back, but the last couple things I want to share is you want to apply an SSL certificate. It's an easy one-click process. I'm not even going to go in there, because all you need to do is click go there. If you see 2 green check marks, you're good to go. If you do not see 2 green check marks, you're going to apply for that certificate. And once you receive it, or you're going to request it, I'm sorry, you're going to set an alarm on your phone for 24 hours from when you request it. And you just come back, and then it'll allow you to apply it to your, it's basically making sure that your website is protecting people's information, because they do have the ability to sign up with their email and put in contact information. That information can be susceptible to hackers, and that's what that SSL certificate does. You've probably visited a website at some point where Google tells you, wait, this website is not safe. That's because their SSL certificate is either expired or was never activated. And so that's what that is. Sounds way more complicated than it is, but it is very simple. The last 2 things are these steps right here. The site activation. You're just going to want to make sure that your website is being indexed by Google, Bing, Yahoo, because by default, this check mark is in there where it says discourage search engines from indexing your site. So we've been getting people say, you know what, the SEO is just not coming up like it used to. Well, that's because right now, by default, it's being discouraged to be searched by these search engines because maybe the website hasn't been set up yet. And so once you're ready, you can remove that, save changes, and you'll start to see yourself come up more and more. And then the last thing is, and this is completely optional, is what we were talking about when we first got started. And that is if you want to activate or bring on over a domain name. For example, I own CassieGallego.com. I bought it on domains.com. Many of you use GoDaddy. There's so many vendors out there that you can use. If you want to bring that over, what you're going to need to do is click here where it says set up vanity domain. You're going to type in that domain name right here and hit continue. What that's going to do is it's going to move it up to the top. And so I'm going to say, you know what, I bought CassandraGallego.com. So we're going to go ahead and hit continue. And when I do that, it's going to move it up to the top for me, and it's going to give me instructions that I need to follow. These are those instructions. I need to go into my GoDaddy, domains.com, wherever, and where there's an area where it says DNS records, I'm just literally going to copy and paste these 4 things. Actually, really, it's only these 2 because these should already be in there. And if you need help with this, I've worked with GoDaddy and domains.com. Both of them have done it for me. So if you just call them and say, this is what my website has provided me with, how do I get my DNS right? They will help you. Once that is complete, once you follow these instructions, by the way, it also emails this to you so you can share it with whoever's helping you. Once that is done, you'll just click verify. Now Moxi is going to double check. Basically, these are the coordinates for where your website lives on the World Wide Web. And you're telling your domain that you want it to be directed to these coordinates. Once you've done that, you'll hit verify. It can take up to 24 to 36 hours. Mine took like 24 seconds, so it could be faster. It could be slow. It could be about that time. So I wouldn't start to worry if it's working or not until after this time frame. That being said, once it's verified, you're good to go. Now moving forward, my website is CassieGallego.com instead of that Cassie.gallego.sites.c21.homes. And you can actually do that for up to 10 domain names. So if you own multiple domain names, you can add as many as you want, up to 10. So I will tell you that any help that you need between the resources I shared at the beginning of our time together and this help button down here, you're going to have it all. But otherwise, Debbie has the bat line. So if she gets stuck on something and doesn't know how to answer it, please feel free to reach out and I'll point you in the right direction. And I'm sorry I took 8 minutes of your lives.
This was fantastic. There's so much you can do with this website, you guys. I have speed keys all the way across the top. Homes in Jaga County, homes in Solon. I have one for attorneys. I have one for Get Approved Now is the header. and it goes to Kellyanne's site. Of course, if you're going to feature somebody else's site on your website, you have to have approval. But there's so much stuff you can do. It's super easy.
Yeah. I would say also, like, don't try to do it all at once. Like,
Right.
give yourself, think about the things that you want and like break it up into chunks, because otherwise it can become a never-ending project. But I always like to say, never feel like your website is done. It's like your home, right? You're always changing things and rearranging things. You want to keep it fresh. So, but it is fun. You'll enjoy it.
Yep. All of your solds, all of your listings, all of your testimonials from Century 21 Homestar will automatically populate as long as you have it unhidden in your pages section. So that's
Cool.
work you don't even have to do.
That's awesome. I don't know, Debbie. I see a website clinic or event in your future for your team. I think that would be a fun thing to do. Everybody kind of a hackathon.
Yeah, right.
Leaves with their website then. If there are no questions, I will let you all go. Otherwise, I do have a couple minutes. And if there are no questions, then Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And it's been my pleasure to work with each and every one of you.
You too. I hope you have a safe holiday season and the same for everybody else. And as usual, I will have this recorded and it'll be up on my YouTube page if you need extras.
La, la,
So,
la, la,
I
la.
didn't say that.
Bye. Thank you all. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Uh, I see your message in the chat. Happy holidays as well. Bye-bye.